Ladies and gentlemen, please take to your seats. We will begin shortly. Ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Omar Hazine. I am the Executive Director at the Jordan Inbound Tour Operators Association and your Master of Ceremony for today's event. Welcome to the Medusa Cross-Border Seminar, what promises to be a very enlightening and educational event, showcasing all the work that has been done so far in the life of the project and for what remains to come down the line. A couple of housekeeping notes before we start. I would appreciate if everyone can keep their mics on mute. Please use the chat box for any questions, comments, or any technical issues that you may have, and our team will be addressing you for those notes as needed. And I would also like to point out that we do have translation in 3 languages, Italian, Spanish, and Arabic, happening in the main room here. All you need to do is to click on the translation button at the bottom of your screen, and you will be able to access the translation of your choice. I would like to introduce our welcome speakers for today. Dr. Berta Perez-Pay, Director of the European Projects and Innovation at the Barcelona Chamber of Commerce, who are the leading partners of the project, to be followed by welcome remarks from Mr. Patrick Torrent, the Executive Director of the Catalan Tourism Board. Dr. Perez, over to you.
Thank you very much, Omar. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome you all to the Cross-Border Seminar on Mediterranean Adventure Tourism organized by the Jordan Inbound Tour Operators Association in the framework of the Medusa project. On behalf of the Barcelona Chamber of Commerce, organization which I represent as lead partner of Medusa, and also on behalf of the whole Medusa partnership, we are really honored to have you all with us today. 7 partners from 5 countries, Jordan, Lebanon, Tunisia, Italy, and Spain, we have joined forces to launch the Medusa project to develop and promote the Mediterranean sustainable adventure tourism. The Barcelona Chamber of Commerce leads the project, working closely together with 2 partners from Jordan, the Jordan Inbound Tour Operators Association and the Royal Society for the Conservation of Nature, 1 partner from Tunisia, WWF North Africa, 1 from Italy, the Puglia region, 1 from Lebanon, the René Mouat Foundation, and another 1 from Spain, which is the Association of the Mediterranean Chambers of Commerce and Industry. The overall objective of Medusa is to develop a competitive form of adventure tourism in the Mediterranean, which is based on environmental and economic sustainability values that will create more business opportunities and new jobs for the local communities. Medusa is funded under the ENI CBC Med program, which is the largest cross-border cooperation initiative implemented by the European Union under the European Neighbourhood Instrument. Medusa follows the Adventure Travel Trade Association definition when we talk about adventure tourism, which describes adventure travel as trips that provide experiences, both mental and physical, to places which are novel or unique to the traveler, emphasize the natural environment, and provide challenges through experiences of culture, activities that promote physical health, as well as excitement or fun. Specifically, the Medusa project has a 3-fold objective. Firstly, we have identified and valorized territorial assets to develop adventure tourism products with 4 different types of analysis reports, which provide an insightful study of the Mediterranean current position within the adventure tourism market, in addition to the opportunities of development for the sector. The main findings and conclusions of those analysis reports will be presented today. Secondly, we promote a multi-stakeholder engagement in a process of capacity building and exchange of experiences, which will formalize roles, responsibilities, and strategic alliances for adventure tourism destination stewardships. Thirdly, we will implement pilot actions rolling out improved and new adventure tourism products via a sub-granting mechanism, and we will develop and promote tourism packages through Mediterranean cross-border marketing alliances. The Mediterranean basin is by far the largest global tourism destination, attracting almost a third of the world's international tourists. But unfortunately, tourism is one of the sectors most affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, impacting economies, livelihoods, public services, and opportunities all around the world. Therefore, the tourism sector requires a new strategic approach to recover from this crisis and stimulate broader and better recovery of national and regional economies. But how can adventure tourism build back better? We are confident that the Medusa project can be of great help to face post-pandemic challenges through the review of marketing and promotion strategies, identifying and targeting markets that can help accelerate recovery, addressing product diversification, as well as recommendations and guidelines in terms of pricing and packaging of products and services. In the agenda for today, we have a high-level panel of experts and speakers that will tackle the main actual and future challenges of adventure tourism in the Mediterranean. We'll look forward to engaging in interesting discussions with all of you. Without further ado, I will now give the floor to Mr. Patrick Torrent, Executive Director of the Catalan Tourist Board from the regional government in Catalonia and also President of Nextour, the European Regions for Competitive and Sustainable Tourism. Thank you, Mr. Torrent, for accepting our invitation to be here with us today.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Berta. Thank you. Many thanks to the Barcelona Chamber of Commerce for counting on the Catalan Tourist Board and Nextour for the opening of this Medusa NECBC Med event. The Catalan Tourist Board is the official institution in charge of the tourism promotion of Catalonia. We are a public-private partnership that aims to position Catalonia as a leading destination in terms of sustainability and competitiveness. For Catalonia, better than more tourism, what we want is better tourism. Medusa aims to create a new competitive and sustainable tourism model in the Mediterranean area based on adventure tourism products. Congratulations to all the partners involved. In the Catalan Tourist Board, adventure tourism is one of the priority products in our sustainable tourism strategy. A perfect exponent of our 4D tourism products, a product that helps us to fight against seasonality, against concentration, enhancing diversity and favoring higher spending. That's sustainability in the broadest sense, environmental, social, and cultural sustainability. Thanks to Medusa project, a research study to help us better understand the mechanism of operation of adventure tourism will be extremely useful to work on the creation of adventure tourism product. From the Catalan Tourist Board, we are leading a project, another NECBC Med, that is a cousin of Medusa, is MedPels, Mediterranean Pels. It's a project that seeks to promote slow tourism product creation initiatives in less frequented territories. We count on 8 partners from Jordan, Egypt, Italy, Palestine, or Greece. The COVID era is generating changes in consumer behavior that will favor the development of adventure tourism. The research developed by the Catalan Tourist Board and the results of an IPK study presented last week in ITV Berlin say that adventure tourism will be the one that will experience a proportionately more intense growth in the coming months. Adventure tourism is usually developed in low concentration tourism destinations, oxygenated and in contact with nature. And these are the characteristics of the destinations that the new post-COVID client will look for. Nextour is the European network of regions for a competitive and sustainable tourism. Is the voice of the first 36 European regional tourism authorities, representing the top leading destinations in Europe that receives the 70% of the international arrivals in the continent. Our main aim is to position tourism in the center of the table of discussion for the strategic debate for the European economy. And the second one is to vindicate the role of the regions in the definition and development of our European tourism policy. Nextur, as a partner of the sustainable tourism community, is in charge of the coordination of the project's capitalization in the Med area. Count on us for it. It will be a pleasure for Nextur to help to guarantee the legacy of the projects focused on a more sustainable tourism model in the Mediterranean. Enjoy then the seminar, and thank you very much, and long life to Medusa. Thank you very much.
Thank you both for your warm introductions and kind words. And without further ado, I would like to welcome our keynote speaker, His Excellency Dr. Talib Rifai, former Secretary General of the UNWTO and Secretary General of the World Tourism Forum Institute, with his remarks on adapting to the post-COVID reality with the future outlook of the Mediterranean region.
Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome Patrick in particular. It's been a long time, Patrick, we haven't seen you. Good to see you again. What I will do today is start a little bit with a general background of the COVID situation and its impact on tourism. And then I would go into intentional tourism. After that, we'll go to some solution, if that's okay. 4 years ago, in an interview with a publication that was issued in Portugal, the interviewers asked me, how would you define this moment in tourism history, especially after Brexit and Trump's election and the basically how would that affect travel and tourism? Of course, 4 years ago, no one expected the COVID crisis and the impact it has on the industry in particular. In direct answer to question that was posed, and I believe today that this is a defining moment in the history of mankind altogether. Everything changed. 4 years ago, I remember saying that terrorism, Brexit, and Trump's election will affect the travel and tourism industry negatively, and in different ways and degrees. But tourism as we know it and knew it then would bounce back, and it did within less than a year. Today we will not bounce back. We will leap forward to a new world, new norm, better and more sustainable world. Therefore, I'm very optimistic, not in going back to what we were, but advancing into sustainable growth. The form of people will continue to travel even more, but they will do it in a more sustainable way. Travel sector has been one of the most affected sectors without doubt in this industry, in this COVID-19. Any country could have done better, but the key to all of this is you cannot do it on your own. That's my point. It's indeed to agree on a minimum procedure, starting with one's surrounding the Mediterranean destination, for example, into the international level. What is needed today is a new multilateral system, a more harmonized, fair, equitable system, because it is not important how successful every country is on its own. You cannot travel from one country to another. This is the nature of travel and tourism, connecting people together. If you cannot travel, you cannot make it well. Therefore, I would encourage every government now to start looking at the surroundings of it, because without that, you cannot really make it on your own. The multilateral system has failed us. The Mediterranean system in particular. The Mediterranean now is attracting 1/3 of the world tourists. Over 300 million people come to the Mediterranean. That's not a little thing. But without coordinating North, South, and East Mediterranean together, we will not be able to make anything. What we need now is a system that combines us together. The EU, for example, is not working well. You can't have a country that is imposing quarantine, another country next to it that is insisting on a vaccination passport, and the third country that is simply asking for 72 hours testing before coming out testing when you arrive to the airport. These systems must be harmonized. It is therefore very, very important that we look at the international, not only the EU, working, even the United States of America, not united anymore. Every state is working on its own. And even the UN system altogether. The UN is not, don't hear anything from the UN people anymore. What we need is a body can coordinate all of our works together, bring these governments together. This is what we are hoping for. How do we do that and promote adventure tourism? Let me first say that the definition of adventure tourism, as has been introduced by the Medusa report, is a reasonable one, because it says that it should satisfy 2 out of 3 of the criteria that it set together. To me, adventure tourism is an experience, new experience that overwhelms you. It has nothing to do with age. At 72 years old now, I'm ready to go into adventure tourism without having to climb mountains, by engaging with the community, engaging in an intense experience. That's what adventure is all about. Adventure is about sustainability also, not just environmental sustainability. Sustainability has to be defined in 3 ways. Environmental sustainability is important as it is, but more important is social and economic sustainability. Engaging the local community is very, very important in this regard. And we cannot really keep treating foreigners as if they're coming from Mars. We can't be people as coming to us treated in a very special way. One of the advantages of the COVID-19 is the emphasis that we had on domestic tourism. Domestic tourism and regional tourism is a very important factor here, because when we enjoy our country, when we know it, then others can enjoy it better. You cannot have any destination be enjoyed by a foreigner. It's not enjoyed by its own people. It's a must. I therefore say that adventure tourism is about an experience, intense experience. It's nothing to do with physical activity. That's just part of it. If you're young, if you do it. If not, just engage the local community. That would be good. Now, we do move from this point to where we find some solution. People have been concentrating too much on vaccination. It will take the world 5 years at least to vaccinate 70% of the world population. There will be no revival of international travel without vaccinating the entire world. That's the nature of travel. You can't have people come to you in one vaccinated country. We are going to non-vaccinated destinations. Unfortunately, the world is not dealing with the issue of vaccination in a suitable way. It's a political game now. Anybody that has it is playing the game. If you don't have it, you don't have it. You're not vaccinated. Therefore, I'm suggesting that we do continue vaccination. Yes, it's good news. Let's not go into the issue of passport for travel, vaccination, because that will be discriminating many people around the world. What we need is a better testing system. Testing has become more easy, more affordable, and it could become more popular. In Korea, they told me that they are basing their openness to travel on 3. One is testing, 2 is tracing, and 3 is treatment. 3 T's. That's much better than just insisting on vaccination and having to wait over long. But what we need to do today is truly to harmonize the work of governments. Each government is being left on its own now. No government is doing its work with anybody else, because the responsibility of each government to protect the citizens of its own population. It's understandable. We do have an obligation to work together as Mediterranean nations in particular. There's so much in common. Jordan, Lebanon, Tunisia, Italy, and Spain. We're very good countries. We can work together. We can combine the North and the South, the Mediterranean, by combining Africa and Europe, and the Middle East from the east side. This is what I wanted to say for now. I thank you all for being such good listeners, and I apologize for being a bit tired today. I took my vaccination yesterday, a second vaccination. So that's why. Otherwise, wish you all the best. Wish Catalonia in particular very best wishes. Patrick, you're welcome. Omar, thank you so much for what Chito was doing. Thank you all very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. See you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your keynote and for your valuable comments and for your support for the tourism sector at large. We truly appreciate your time being with us today. Next, let's take a deep dive into the 2 points we have on our agenda. First, we have a presentation on the conceptualization of the global market research and analysis that has been conducted, and this will be presented by our colleague from the Puglia Region Authority, Ms. Maria Luisa Carengella. This will also be followed by a general destination review and an inventory report from each of the partner countries, and will be presented by representatives from the different partners we're working with. I leave you with Maria Luisa Carengella. Over to you.
Well, good morning. Today we share the result of our global research. We have done 3 kinds of researches. 1, country researches, benchmarking studies, and market research. Country research is consisting in destination review, 5 destination review, is a photography of each destination, and inventory. Inventory of attractiveness are about the attractiveness of pilot area. So each destination has chosen some pilot areas. But we have done this research last year during pandemic, and we have a question in mind. How can we add value for purpose for recovery? Because it's clear that with pandemic, all is changing. The first answer is about the definition about adventure tourism. For us, for Medusa, adventure tourism definition is based on 3 dimensions integrated each other: product-based dimension, traveler-based dimension, sustainable-based dimension. What was more now is mandatory. For this reason, sustainable-based dimension is have the same role of our dimension. Product-based dimension is about physical activity, environmental, cultural. So the focus is about this kind of questions: what, where, what do you do, which relations. Traveler-based dimension is about transformation, impact, challenge, and the focus is which meaning in the life of traveler. Sustainable-based dimension is about the benefit for local communities, because sustainability means to understand the challenges of our communities, and the second, to develop a holistic approach to understand what is good for us. So the focus is which value beyond GDP, revenue, bad night, what's its real important. So the research, destination, inventory, market, and benchmarking help us to put into practice these 3 dimensions. How? We have some key words for new business model. First, community. Start with why, connect with community, which means create meaningful connection with community. Traveler seek experiences which aligns with his value, but where community, purpose, openness are at core of DNA of destination. It's not a collaboration. It's what co-creation. It's something to make authentic experience. Second, openness, safety, and sustainability are key words for product development. Openness means to be open to people, to change, to innovate, and to adapt the new normal. Inventory of attractiveness give us some point to start and to reinvent service and new business. And marketing research gives some information to diversify product proposition for different target groups. Safety in this moment is the key. Sustainability in mind, well, in the term of purchase, people have dedicated more time to making conscious decision. So benchmarking study give us best practice to follow and to apply in our context, in our community. Transparency is the key word for communication. There are several tools about these topics. We have developed a tour operator and information about 64 travel agency in outbound market specialized in adventure tourism to help small price enterprises to start. Inventory gives us some ideas for product development, for great opportunities for interregional packages. We have mapped 17 land activities, 7 water-based activities, 4 hay-based activities. We have used the same icons to make easy to compare in between the 5 destinations, how these activities are developed. We have common topics with local differences, and soft adventures are growing. They are the way to rethinking tourism well-being. And what is important about thinking and history. Now I have used 3 keywords from used by sociologist Franco Cassano in Salford University of Bari. He used these 3 words: autonomy, which means we have a great history; slowness style is not a lazy style. He said is the ability to live at a different speed and live experience at the fullest. I like this word for define our lifestyle: mastery of time. And this is a great richness in this period to use for implement, for develop our products. But we have done a photography of our destination in Adventure Tourism Development Index 2020. All 5 destinations are losing competitiveness, and so we have done SWOT analysis. But it's important how we read this analysis. I like to use what Simon Sinek have written in his last book, Infinite Game. We have 2 mindsets which we can play in the world: finite game or infinite game. Finite game players are known and the rules are fixed. Okay, and so well, we have my time is finishing, so I have a highlight for most important topics about what we have to work, but we can use the strength and opportunities by Infinite Mind. How? Promote a med cluster, work about adventure interregional packages, and we can do with Medusa sub-grant action. How? Led by community, networking starting from pilot areas and work together about this topic. and innovation, culture, entrepreneurial ecosystem, environmental sustainability. So what's next? We can start and enjoy with our destination, and stay tuned with the Medusa project.
Poi ci giù anche se la gente parla male, solo cose fresca. No, 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 no. Cammina, cammina della mano all'omeriggio, cercando quel giocasello c'è io, poi ci giù anche se la gente parla male, solo cose fresca. No, 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 no. Cigarella mia, pizzicarella, cigarella mia, pizzicarella, e non camerato da un anno, me ne nalina, lo camerato da un parega balla. Camina, camina di cu, digi dan dan, camina, camina di cu, par digi digi digi, camina, camina di cu.
Well, I choose this video because it's an example about soft adventure activities with well-being approach. Well, Puglia is a region of South Italy. We have 4 million of inhabitants. Two number about the tourist sector in Puglia that have increased all in this year. In 2019, the arrivals were 4 million, more than 4 of arrivals in 2018. In the last 5 years, international incoming has grown by 60. So for us, it's a very important sector of our social and economy. Well, how Puglia is working? Two things are very important for Puglia: diversification and product development. Second, to enhance the ecosystem to take care of visitor integrating. So all about all the services for visitors. Well, cultural routes and itineraries have a particular and big role in our policy. They are not only physical infrastructure. we see them as most important immaterial, spiritual, cultural, and relational infrastructure. Our heritage is spread throughout the region. So cultural roots are the sustainable way to collaborate between communities and to create new offers. The most known is Francigena. Francigena cross all Puglia, 900 kilometers from Monte Sant'Angelo to Santa Maria di Leuca. Well, how we manage? We have two strategic plans: strategic plan of culture and strategic tourism plan. The topics of strategic plan of culture are product, identity, innovation, impresa as enterprise, labor. The strategic tourism plan is Puglia 65 days, because we want tourist offer for all days. Governing bodies are Department of Tourism and Economy, Area Puglia Promozione, our DMO destination, Teatro Pubblico Pugliese manage strategic plan of culture, and Apulia Film Connection attracts film production on the territory, and this is our tool for promote our territory. The infrastructure are good. I go faster. And well, we have chosen 5 pilot areas in protected areas and natural reserves: Gargano National Park, Alta Murgia National Park, Terre delle Gravine Natural Regional Park, Torre Quageto Natural Reserve, Otranto Lake and Bosco di Tricase Natural Regional Park. Puglia region is richest of biodiversity and protected area. This is the 5 pilot areas are spread in all territories. Why we have chosen pilot area in natural reserves? Well, department want to promote business tourist activities in the park to valorize great biodiversity in connection with stewardship. All our parks are working about chart of European sustainable tourism, and chats and GSTC, Global Sustainable Tourism Council standards, have a lot in common. So this is a way to promote sustainable ecosystem, and with a game win-win, because big hotels will soon give more visibility to this kind of standard. Well, we have done a map of cultural reserves in each pilot areas, and we have, for example, in this pilot area, there are our UNESCO heritage sites. We have done a map of adventure activities. We have land activities, sea activities, and air sport activities. And we have done a map of these activities in all pilot areas. And and these are the top adventure activity in Puglia region. The most important thing that is our region is growing interest about this kind of tourism, and we want to work with sustainability in mind. That's all. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. You probably all heard a little bit about Jordan, and you probably every time think of Jordan, you think of Petra, the crown jewel of Jordan. However, today and through the Medusa project, we would like to present to you a different Jordan, a Jordan that is open for adventures and has a variety that you probably never had known before. So allow me to give you a little introduction about the little country that is located in the Middle East. Its capital is Amman. The official language is Arabic, with English widely spoken. Not a big population. However, tourism plays a really important role in our economy, with about 12.5% in the worst days, at the better days, we had 14-15% of contribution to GDP. Tourism employs about just over 50,000 people in direct jobs and over 150 in indirect jobs, with an average stay of 4.7 nights. And through tourism, through adventure tourism and sustainable programs, we hope to increase this average stay. So in terms of the Medusa project, we are focusing on 6 pilot areas or pilot governorates. These are the 6 governors that are located along the Jordan Valley Rift and include the Jordan River, the Dead Sea, and the Red Sea. In terms of the governance of Jordan, we all work under the National Tourism Strategy, which is the main guide for all the stakeholders working in tourism. So starting with the tourism regulators, which is the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities in the primary around the country. But we also have some local governors that work in Aqaba and Petra to support tourism activities and development. In addition to the national and regional DMOs like the Jordan Tourism Board and the newly developed Sub-Development Corporation, which is trying to work as a DMO and promoting new activities in the Salt City, we also have tourism associations that work with the different tourism sub-stakeholders like the hotels, the tour operators, the tour guides, and so on. And we have 2 primary organizations that are tasked with protecting the nature reserves. We have the Royal Society of the Conservation of Nature, which is one of the Medusa partners, along with JITOA. And we have the Royal Marine Conservation Society, which is tasked with preserving the Aqaba marine environment in the south. In terms of infrastructure and mobility, for those who visited Jordan, Jordan is a pretty modern country with a lot of with easy access to all the locations, especially the prime locations. We have 3 airports that receive international flights, with a lot of the regular flights going into Amman, which is more or less in the northern part of the country. And there are a lot of charter flights that are going down in the south to Aqaba, to the Aqaba airport. However, for the past 3-4 years, we had an increase in low-cost carriers, the LCCs, with Ryanair and EasyJet dominating the scene, which opened a lot of new markets and a lot of new routes for Jordan. And we hope that after this pandemic, everyone will be able to resume their flights. We have one port, which is located in the south and receives over 70 tourism cruise ships yearly. It's a deep water sea and receives big ships like the Queen Elizabeth and others. 4 major highways and 1 railway that is mainly industrial. However, there is a small part of the old Hijaz Railway, which is over 100 years. It's an old Ottoman railway that serves the tourism sector with the 100-year steam engine. And that's an interesting experience to try. We have 11 nature reserves and 1 marine park. There is the Jordan Trail, which is the national hike that was developed from north to south. And in fact, it has been awarded many international awards and has been on the National Geographic's list of the top destinations for 2020 and 2021. We have the recently developed National Jordan Bike Trail as well, which gives a lot of opportunities and takes you into deep, deep places of the country. And there are a lot of tour operators and accommodation facilities that can help you to cater a good experience. In terms of the protected areas, as mentioned, they are all under the provision of the Royal Society for the Conservation of Nature, or RSCN. In the pilot territories, we have 6 of these nature reserves that will be benefiting directly from the Medusa project support. These are the Dana Biosphere Reserve, which is the largest in the country. Then we have the Mujib Biosphere Reserve, which is the lowest biosphere on Earth. And then we have the well-known Wadi Rum Desert, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And then we have FIFA, Yarmouk, and Aqaba. The good part is that all these offer a lot of interesting mix of tourism and conservation programs for people to enjoy. They all offer accommodation facilities as well. Probably the only one that is not currently offering any tourism experiences is the FIFA Nature Reserve, and we hope that in the future it will as well. So in terms of the natural resources, as I mentioned, you probably all know Jordan as a cultural country with a lot of unique cultural and heritage sites. However, we also have a lot of natural sites. Probably the most well-known are the Dead Sea and the hot springs in the Ma'in area, the Ma'in Zarqa, which is not very far from the Dead Sea as well. And these are hot springs that offer their visitors, and especially Jordanians, love them in winter seasons because they are warm and they are nice, and the weather is always greater than in the rest of the country. Jordan has 4 biogeographical areas, or regions. It has a lot of vegetation types and species that are very particular to Jordan. Within the nature reserves, you will also find that there are a lot of wetlands that are on the way for migrating birds. So we have a lot of migrating birds in different seasons, especially in early spring and late autumn. And this is a beautiful activity that we really encourage everyone to check. So back to the cultural aspects of Jordan. Apart from Petra, as you will see in all the governorates, there's a lot of interesting activities to see and things to do, and they all are very unique to the specific governorates. So you will never, or sometimes you will find very different activities in the north that you cannot find in the south. So we always recommend that you try those in the location because they would be really different and special. Jordan has 5 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Within the pilot territories, we have 3 of them, which are Rasas, which is a biblical area. We have Wadi Rum, which is a mixed nature and heritage site. And we have the baptism site, Bethany, which is a biblical heritage site as well. All of them offer a variety of tours, as I mentioned, including cultural, rural experiences, culinary activities, arts and crafts, hikes, and so on. In terms of the adventure activities in particular, there are really a lot of things that you can do in Jordan. And I guess this map is not as easy to read at this stage, but you can always go back to the reports and see the variety of things that are available in the different territories. And they really take you from a lot of different activities that are land, water, or air-based. And finally, as a project, we decided to pick top 5 adventure activities, which we would like to highlight because either they are the most popular, especially adventure tourism has become more and more popular in the recent years among the local Jordanian youth and families, or also because there are a lot of places that offer these types of activities. So the hiking and trekking is available really throughout the country. Cycling and mountain biking is very popular, as I mentioned, with the trails and the nature reserves. Canyoning and wet canyoning, especially in the Mujib biosphere, is the photo you see on your right, which is the lowest biosphere on Earth. Then rock climbing, abseiling in Wadi Rum and the northern areas, and bird watching. There is a very particular bird watching station in Aqaba that is really nice, and also in other RCN reserves. So this is really a very short presentation on Jordan. We hope you get to learn more about it through the different materials that the Medusa project has developed, and allow me to leave you now with hopefully a bit of an adrenaline rush video about the different adventure activities in Jordan. Thank you all.
Break my bones, break my soul. You can't hold me down, no. Take my home and take my clothes. The path I chose, from the ashes I rose. No limits and no fear. Ready to rise, I'll take on anything, you know. Break free. Ready to rise, I'll take on anything.
Tell me to sweat, I pack my bags and leave. But down all of my way, 'cause honey, I'm free. Need nothing on my back, all I need is my feet. The earth on my skin, the sun rays I breathe. I sail on mountains to the heavens and I sand on my toe. When will I be back? Hell, no one knows. Whoa, oh, yes I'm free. Oh, I'm free. The rush of blood in my bones. I'm free. I walk away in my thoughts from what I said. Lord, I'm free.
Take on anything.
Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Medusa Tourism Seminar, cross-border seminar. I am Essia Gizi from WWF North Africa, and I present Tunisia destination. So Tunisia is a country located in the Maghreb region on the African continent. Our official language is Arabic, and we have 11.5 million inhabitants in Tunisia. Tourism is a very important sector in the economic in Tunisia, and the contribution to GDP is about 7 to 8% during the let's say good tourism year. Tunisia is known as a sun and sea tourism country. However, we tried in Medusa project to choose unknown destination. So we will work on Benarous Governorate, mainly in Jebel Irsas, Mountain of Lead, National Park of Bougarine and Sidi Selim Garsi as a pilot area in Benarous Governorate. We also have chosen to work on Mednin, on the Governorate of Mednin, mainly in Zamour and Bni Khdesh, and in Gabes Governorate, and we have chosen Matmata, Tujen and Berber villages as a pilot area. Those pilot areas are good potential, or have a good potential for adventure tourism, as you see in the photos. The governance of destination of the tourism sector in Tunisia is mainly based on the public sector, represented by the government, for example, ministries of tourism and handcrafts, also Ministry of Agriculture and Water Resources, and also Ministry of Cultural Affairs. Also, we have the local and regional authorities of tourism, and the tourism organizations, for example, the National Office for Tourism. The business sector is mainly represented by tourism offers, holders and suppliers, National Federation as a private syndicates for tourism governance, and also other, for example, intermediaries and the transport business sector, professional associations like, for example, Association for Campers and other professional associations. Also the host community and customers, for example, tourist and local community. And also we have the knowledge community, for example, international organizations and donors, research center, like for example, the Higher Institute for Tourism in Tunisia and the training centers. For the infrastructure and mobility, and when you would like to come to Tunisia, we have around 15 special experiences, 130 hotels, 10 hostels, and 14 rural houses, and 45 travel agencies, mainly for adventure tourism. Tunisia is or pilot area is accessible through land and air and serviced by railway. So mainly we have airports, ports, also land transportation and sea transportation to go to the pilot area. Tunisia also is famous with the natural heritage. Tunisia counts 17 national parks and 27 natural reserves. In the pilot area, we have two national parks. One is located in Benarouz Governorate, the national park of Bougarin, as you see, and we have also the national park of Sidi Toui in the governorate of Medellin. This picture is showing the Mejen Shitan Natural Reserve as a unique natural reserve in Tunisia, but as I said, we have 27 natural reserves in Tunisia, and we have also 41 Ramsar sites and more than 241 wetlands. As you see the map of natural resources in pilot area, and as I said, we have two national parks in the pilot area, but we have a lot of other natural resources in the pilot area. And for the governorate of Gabes and Medellin, the government is running the process for registering the first geo park in Tunisia in Dahar destination. For the adventure activities you can explore in Tunisia, we count more than 20 adventure activities across the pilot area. So the wild beaches of the northern coast set with their forest mountains as well as the Saharan expanses would attract large numbers of hikers and nature lovers. So actually Tunisian population is exploring the natural resources and the adventure activities in the different pilot area by, for example, hiking, organizing trekking, cycling, and a lot of other adventure activities. With its unique location in the Mediterranean basin and great geographical and climatic diversity, Tunisia offers many amazing spots for amateur bird watchers all over the country. Water birds, beautiful flamingo, and more than 300 bird species. We choose bird watching as a main activity because as a WWF North Africa, we encouraging nature conservation and activities related to discovering and exploring natural resources and ecosystems. Tunisia has a geological platform adapted to the climbing activities, specifically in Jbal Arsas and in Dahar mountain chain. So for the cultural resource in pilot area, Tunisia is very famous with the most impressive in the Mediterranean basin. For example, we have Dugga, Bularegia, Maktar, Spitla, Hydra, and Tuburdu Mahus. So many mythical and unexpected landscape in unique historical. Also in the pilot area, there are a lot of cultural events and festivals allow us to delve deeper into the country's culture. Also, you can explore food tours and cooking experiences. For example, cheese making in Udna and Benarouz. Also, you can discover and explore new experiences in the Berber villages and discover the Tamazight culture. To leave you on a good note, we are delighted to show you this video on Dahar destination, authentic and new experiences. Thank you very much.
So, hello, good morning to everyone. It's now the turn of Catalonia. The same as Lina explained for Jordan, I think it happens in Catalonia. So I guess many of you are or know Barcelona city, but perhaps you are not so familiar with Catalonia. So the first thing we have to say is that Barcelona is the principal capital of Catalonia. Here you can see where we are located. We are in the northeastern Spain, considered an economic powerhouse and a very popular tourist destination with our own linguistic and cultural identity, and even with our own government within Spain. We have 3 official languages, Catalan, Spanish, and Aranese, and we are 7.7 million inhabitants in January 2020. As in other countries and destinations, tourism sector is very, very important for us. It's crucial for the Catalan economy, representing 12% of the Catalan GDP and 14% of the total Catalan labor market. And in 2019, we reached almost 20 million foreign tourist arrivals, generating an expenditure of 21,000 million euros. So very important for us. And an average stay, we had an average stay of around 5.6 nights, more or less. We have a complete transport infrastructure system. We have 5 commercial airports, 6 cruise ship ports, thousands of kilometers of roads connecting Catalonia with Europe and with European capitals, high-speed trains, and a vast network of soft infrastructures, thousands of signposted kilometers, both for hiking, mountain biking, cycling, even for swimming. It is very difficult to summarize all the resources that Catalonia has to offer. We are a Mediterranean destination with multiple attractions. Here you can see like a very brief explanation, just 600 kilometers of coast, to highlight some of them, 1 national park, 14 natural parks, 2 UNESCO biosphere reserves. And for example, we have 16 ski resorts. I think it's the most differential resource we have compared to other Medusa countries. So we have 16 ski resorts. In terms of gastronomy, 65 stars in the Michelin Guide, or 1 million beds in different types of accommodation. In terms of governance, at regional or at territorial level, this is a very simplified vision of how the tourism is governed in Catalonia, but each region has its own tourism department. So counties, Catalonia is divided in 4 provinces and 42 counties, what we call counties. Those are small regions. So each one of these regions has its own tourism departments. Then we have the Provincial Council Tourist Board with their own budgets, strategies, and promotion and action plans. And then at global level, at Catalan level, we have the Catalan Tourist Board in charge of promoting the Catalonia both in Spain and abroad. And then we have the Directorate General of Tourism, it's the entity responsible for the management of Catalonia as a tourist destination, designing and approving policies for boosting the competitiveness of the sector, or acting as a legal actor in front of regulated tourist companies, for example. So the Catalan Tourist Board and the Directorate General, they base their actions in a strategic plan and in a marketing plan. But as you can see, we have different entities working on tourism, all of them in a coordinated way. As well as my colleagues has explained, in Catalonia we have also chosen some pilot areas. We have chosen 4 out of these 42 that I have told you we have. Why we have chosen these areas? Basically because they are very different one from another. Some of them are coastal, some of them are inland, some of them are more mature than others. And basically because as they are very different, the adventure tourism potential is also very different. So the activities that can be developed in one area or in another are different. And this fact gave us the possibility to play a bit when developing and implementing this Medusa project in these areas. We have Alt Empordà, el Penedès, Baix Ebre, and el Berguedà. These are the pilot areas in Catalonia. If we map them, you can see that they are located throughout all Catalonia, not located in a single area. Just for you to have a brief idea, Alt Empordà is the first one. It's located in the north part of Catalonia, just bordering with France. It nestles the Mediterranean Sea and the Pyrenees, so the adventure activities are structured between or divided between the coastline and the mountains. It is a very mature destination. You can see here that there are more than 50,000 beds. So quite a well-structured infrastructure. Then we have Alt Penedès. It's an inland territory, and it's very well known and very well positioned thanks to its wine tourism offer. So the never-ending vineyard landmarks, landscapes are their landmark. You can do any activity related to wine there. Then we have Baix Ebre in the south of Catalonia. Baix Ebre belongs to a wider territory called Terres de l'Ebre that was declared Biosphere Reserve by UNESCO in 2013. Similar to the Alt Empordà, apart from the coastline and a mountain part inland, they have a resource very important, which is the Ebre River. It's a lively and partially navigable river, and it is a very interesting spot for adventure activities, fluvial activities there. So based on these 3 points, the coast, the mountains, inland, and the river, they structured the adventure tourism offer. And finally, we have Alt Berguedà. It's also an inland area with a very diverse geography. The north part is very mountain landscape with peaks with more than 2,000 meters high. And in the south, it's a very soft area, very flat area. So the adventure activities are divided in the north mountain and in the south more soft ones, right? Having said that, which is the natural, cultural, and adventure tourism profile of these 4 pilot areas. Similar to my colleagues, if we add these 4 areas, we have 6 natural parks. Some of them, the largest protected wetland in Catalonia, for example, or it includes also the 2nd largest wetland area in Catalonia, or one of the biggest natural areas. In Catalonia, we have almost 30 nature reserve and protected natural areas, 1 biosphere reserve, as I have explained it before, and dozens of viewpoints that allow the visitor to explore the territory in a different way. In terms of culture, it is very difficult to summarize in 5 minutes and half of a slide which are the cultural resources of Catalonia and included in these pilot areas, but I would say in general terms that we have almost 10 archaeological sites, culinary experiences, a lot of culinary experiences based on this wine tourism offer and also in local products, very important for us. All kinds of festivals and celebrations, historic sites and forts, more than 50 museums and exhibitions, religious sites, and we have also UNESCO heritage in these areas, including small dry stone constructions, the human towers, we call castells, 5 sites included in the rock art of the Mediterranean basin on the Iberia Peninsula group, and 2 popular festivals, which are La Patum and La Fia Falla, declared World Heritage by UNESCO. So we would say that culture is Catalonia's flagship. And then we have the map of the adventure activities. They are very similar to those already explained by my colleagues. So I want to spend much time detailing all the activities. I would highlight perhaps 3 of them. One is winter snow activities that can be practiced here. Then we have skydiving in terms of air activities, especially in Empúria Brava in Alampurdà, which is a leading destination worldwide to practice this sport. And in terms of water activities, we have to consider that they can be developed in the coast, obviously, but also in the river, especially in Ebro River, and in lakes inland. So kite surf, scuba diving, snorkeling, they are very important, especially in the coastline, and the offer is really, really, really wide. Which are the top 5 adventure activities? Very difficult it's a tricky exercise to do. I would say that we agree on the first 3. The most popular here are hiking, trekking, walking, so hiking in different levels, cycling and mountain biking. From this 3rd position on, we would have discussions. So we have said that observing flora and fauna, and especially bird watching, is important in Catalonia and in some areas specifically. But observing flora and fauna can be practiced in all of the 4 pilot areas. And then we have included also water activities, basically because we have a very wide offer. So for the volume of these activities, we have included as a top 5 most popular adventure exercises here. And finally, we think that Catalonia has the potential and is working in the right direction to become a leading destination in adventure tourism, that the Medusa project will help us to achieve it. And I hope I have convinced you to come and to visit us here in Catalonia and to enjoy our adventure tourism activities. If not, I hope the video we will show you next will do it for me. So you will be more than welcome to come. Thank you very much for your attention.
Hey, where are you going?
We're heading to Lleida for the weekend. We've got it all planned out. We're going to do lots of activities of all kinds.
Catalonia has so many nature spaces that you'll be spoilt for choice. The vast outdoors, green, mountain and coastal landscapes, snow-capped or drenched in sunshine. Make your choice. Leisure or adventure, nature watching or physical activities. If you're into mountains, then we've got all the pistes in the Pyrenees, a network of long and short hiking routes, greenways for cycle tourism, pony trekking, ravines. If what you're really after is the beach, here you can discover the hidden coves of the Mediterranean, go kayaking, or explore the depths of the finest seabed. By land, sea, or air, live the outdoors your way in Catalonia.
A great idea. You know how much we all love adventures.
Good morning, everyone. Greetings from Beirut. I'm very happy to welcome you all on this Medusa cross-border seminar platform and share with you Lebanon's destination review and inventory. My name is Lutetia Baini Bouchapke. I'm the project manager of Medusa in Lebanon at the René Mawad Foundation in Beirut. Lebanon is a very beautiful small country in the Middle East that has no desert at all. It stretches along the eastern shore of the Mediterranean Sea. Its length is almost 3 times its width, 10,452 square kilometers, with moderate Mediterranean climate, active and dynamic population. It's around 6,833 million, that was in 2018, precisely. Divided into 4.2 million Lebanese and 2.5 million from other nationalities. It has a very diversified culture. Most people speak 3 languages, Arabic, French, and English. Lebanese economy is based on services, and tourism is part of it with approximately 29% contribution of its GDP. Next. So the selection made for the pilot areas is representative for all Lebanon in terms of destination management and destination profile. It's also where adventure tourism is already taking place in Lebanon right now. So it's divided into 9 pilot areas, as we can see: Menjiz, Akkar, Eden, Qadisha, Tanourin, Bentail, Jabal Musa, Kfar Bedyan, Shuf, and Jizin. Till this date, we have no actual destination management organization in Lebanon, unfortunately. Local actors such as individuals, NGOs, and associations are playing the role of developing and promoting the rural and adventure tourism sector in Lebanon. The main actor, of course, the chief orchestra for developing and setting standards for tourism is the Ministry of Tourism. In the case of Lebanon, the public sector is absent from developing, regulating, or promoting the adventure tourism sector. However, I can name, for example, the Union of Sustainable Ecotourism Institutions, that is newly established association/syndicate in Lebanon, an initiative by 5 eco-tour operators aiming at regulating and standardizing the responsible and adventure sector. Many associations also are working on developing region through hiking trail, equipping climbing routes, guide training. These interventions are supported and financed by international donors usually. Next. So adventure travelers are usually less sensitive to deficiencies in hard tourism infrastructure. What I mean by that is like roads, airport, etc. But perhaps more sensitive when it comes to soft tourism infrastructure like trail maps or information on heritage and culture. You can get to Lebanon by plane through the Beirut International Airport. Lebanon has around 350 accommodation facilities, 39 natural sites, 24 cultural sites, 5 UNESCO cultural sites, 29 adventure tourism activities, and some maps are developed to show how to reach them. Next. In the 10 pilot areas, there are many protected areas and natural reserves. Today, natural reserve is the most well-established, managed and studied form of protected areas in the country. Lebanon has created 15 natural reserves. To date, only 6 out of the 15 have management plans. Natural reserves occupy around 2.7 of the country area. In the pilot areas, we can find Akkar Mountains, the Kadisha Valley, Eden Natural Reserve, Tanourin Cedars, Bental Natural Reserve, Khadabien. In this photo, you can see Jabal Musa Biosphere Reserve, which is high in biodiversity. And finally, the Shuf Biosphere Reserve from the 10 pilot areas. Next. Known for its richness in biodiversity and climate, Lebanon is the richest country in the Middle East in nature reserves. These reserves became destination for a multitude of outdoor activities. They went beyond nature preservations and are playing the role of agent of development. The country has an extensive list in caves and sinkhole. I can name Jaita Grotto that everybody knows, which is the deepest cave in Lebanon and also the Middle East. Fresh water all over Lebanon with many springs. There are many surface water and groundwater sources, but unfortunately very badly managed. Since the beginning of the 20th century, animal wildlife in Lebanon has been relatively eradicated, but there are more than 4,000 plant species and more than 4,000 animal species around, according to research. Highlands are quite abundant. 3,088 meters is the highest peak. Next. Lebanon history has been shaped by its strategic location at the crossroads between the East and the West, and as the gateway to the Middle East. Lebanon has more than 250 Roman temples that are geo-localized. The most visited one is Baalbek, located in the Bekaa Valley. There are 5 UNESCO cultural sites: Anjar, Baalbek, Byblos, Wadi Kadisha, which is the Holy Valley, the Forest of the Cedars of God, Tyre. Next. We can name a lot of adventure activities, and which is my best part in Lebanon. I'll let you read them: hiking, trekking, rock climbing, caving, rappelling, canoeing, etc. But next, I will name the top 5 adventure activities, which are hiking, considered the most spread and famous outdoor sport in Lebanon. It's practiced by a wide range of tour organizers. Many villages in Lebanon have developed their network of trails. Trekking, the Lebanon Mountain Trail Association created the first national and longest trail that extends from the north of Lebanon to the south, a 470-kilometer path that transacts more than 76 towns and villages at an altitude ranging from 570 meters to 2,073 meters. Camping today, yes, becoming popular. One can camp in any land owned by the government or can choose to visit one of the campsites with facilities. And alpine skiing. Yes, Lebanon has mountains of snow during winter. It is very widely practiced across Lebanon, mainly in mountains like Akkar, Dali, Khadabien, Tanourin, Faraya, etc. Rock climbing, Lebanon is known for its geological formation with a limestone dominance of 70%. Lebanon holds the biggest rock climbing outdoor site in the Middle East. That's not all for Lebanon, but I'm waiting for you all to come and discover it. On the equation, I would like to thank 33 North for the amazing study they did, and all the consortium of Medusa for all the collaboration. Leaving you with a small video on what you don't know about Lebanon, and of course, I would like to thank you all from all my heart.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the destination reviews from our partner countries with truly insightful information about the different destinations. So next we come to the interactive part of the seminar, into our breakout rooms. And I will go through a quick introduction about each of the breakout rooms with the facilitators who are going to be managing this discussion. One thing before I move on is to please keep an eye out on the chat. We have the link that will take you to all these presentations. We know many of you have been asking for them, so just watch the chat, follow the link, and you'll be able to access all those presentations. So for just to also tell you that you will be automatically taken into the breakout rooms that you chose upon registration. And after 40 minutes, you will be diverted back into the main room to continue with the agenda that we have for you. So for room number 1, the theme is product development and innovation in shaping authentic experiences in adventure travel. And this is going to be facilitated by Dr. Milena Nikolova. She will be supported by Medusa coordinator Diana Novillo from the ASCAME as our partners. Room number 2 is all about sustainability marketing and credibility. And our facilitator is Dr. David Ehrman, who's an international tourism consultant. He's being supported by Ms. Inma Belban Malol, who will also be working with him to facilitate the room. Room number 3 is all about strategic alliance concept and its potential role in enhancing the competitiveness of the Mediterranean in adventure tourism. Our facilitator is Barbara Fritz and is supported by Ashraf Barqawi from the RSCN. Rule number 4 is all about building traveler needs into business planning and growth in adventure tourism. This is being facilitated by Dr. Manal Kilig, the Executive Director for the MENA region at the ATTA, also being supported by Rawan Atallah with the Jaitawa team. And last but not least is the breakout room 5, the role of adventure tourism and economic sustainability of parks, nature reserves, and conservation areas. This is being facilitated by Uthman Al-Tawalbe, manager of the Ajloon Nature Reserve, and supported by Leonie Hen, also part of the Medusa team. Enjoy the discussions, let them be vibrant, let them be educational, and I'll see you back in 40 minutes.
Barcelona Chamber of Commerce, and I'm very happy that today here with me we have Uthman Al-Tawalbe. He is a real expert when it comes to natural reserve management and especially managing tourism in those natural reserves in those parks. Let me quickly present him to you. Uthman has a master's degree in tourism studies, and he has worked for the last 13 years as a manager of natural reserves. First of all, he worked as a tourism manager in the Ajloon Forest Reserve for 5 years. Then he managed the Jordan Eco Park for another 5 years, and since 2018 he is in charge of managing the Ajloon Forest Reserve and the Royal Academy for conservation of nature in Jordan. And apart from that, he represents Jordan also on an international scale at different important events, like, for example, is the Sustainable Development Conference at the UN headquarters. And he was also chosen as one of the successful stories by the Jordan Invest Committee in 2019. And 1 year earlier, he contributed to winning 2 international prizes, one of them being the top 100 green destinations and the other one, the IUCN Green List. And I have a personal statement also from Othman that in his job, he's always eager to help the local communities, to empower them and to create opportunities for them, and especially for youth. Welcome, Othman. Thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for taking the time. And maybe once I explain some housekeeping rules of this discussion room, maybe you can already put on your presentation, and then I'll hand the word right over to you. Okay. So just a few more comments from my side to make this breakout room and this discussion flow smoothly. If you want to intervene, because after a short input presentation that Othman will give to us right now, we have a few questions prepared for you. And if you want to intervene and comment on these questions, give your input, then you raise your virtual hand that you can find on the bottom right. There is a sign saying reactions. You click on this button and then you can raise your hand there. I can give you the floor, and that way we can organize this session in a very efficient way. You can also type your questions into the chat. Use the chat box that you can find on your right. If you don't feel comfortable with English, you can also post your question in another language and we'll try to translate that. Maybe I'm able to, if not, we'll maybe find another one in this room who's able to translate. You can also send your questions to an email address and we will respond to them right after the event. I will post the email address in the chat right now. Okay, that is it from my side. Othman, if you're ready, I'll hand over the word to you and you can give us your short presentation, and I hope that afterwards we'll have a very lively discussion about the subject. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonie, for this quick introduction. And also, I'm very pleased, I'm very happy, I'm very honored to be part of this session today. I would like to thank Mendoza team and Mendoza project for giving us this opportunity. And also, I would like to thank all the participants who are interested to be part of this session. If you don't mind, just I'm trying, Leonie, to share my screen. Okay. Yes. Just to start my presentation. Are you see the presentation, please, Leonie, if you confirm?
I cannot see it yet.
Okay, just wait a minute, please.
Maybe I have also a backup here in case we can't see yours. Okay, things are moving. Yes, now we can see it. Perfect, it's on.
Okay, so as you know,
can you put it on full screen? Sorry. Okay,
yes,
now it's on full screen. Wonderful, perfect.
Okay, so I would like to take you in a short presentation. It will be about 5 minutes. To talk about the role of adventure. Okay, to talk about the role of adventure tourism in economic sustainability of parks and conservation area. Just before we start, I will raise this question: why we visit nature reserves? As you know, all of you, we are visiting the nature reserve because to enjoy the grandeur of nature, also to escape from the pressure of urban life, and also to explore different landscapes, and to experience outdoor adventure in a natural setting, and to learn about the environment, and to participate in conserving the environment, and also to experience a rural life.
Sorry, Othman, I think the presentation disappeared. Can you check if you can put it on again? At least I can see it at the moment. Sorry to interrupt you.
Now, no problem. Now is it clear?
Yes, now I can see it again.
I will show. Okay, I will show it in a full screen. Is it clear for you?
Yes, it's It's working. Sorry, go on, please.
Okay, just because we have a short time to talk about our experience on this field, just I would like to talk about one side. As you know, we are working with the Royal Society for Conservation of Nature, and I'm managing Ajnoon Forest Reserve. So I would like to speak about this reserve as a case study, and because I told you we don't have enough time just to talk about all the natural reserves. We have 11 natural reserves, but I will brief you about the site that I work on. Ajnoon Forest Reserve, it's one of the reserves that belong to the Royal Society for Conservation of Nature. It was established in 1987. It covers a 12 square kilometer protected area. It's managed as a pilot model reconciles between oak forest conservation and local development requirement. Ajnoon Forest Reserve is very rich with the biodiversity. It has 573 kinds of wild plants and flowers, and also 105 wild animals and birds. In the reserve, we are providing many services. One of these services is accommodation. We have 23 wooden cabins with the private facilities. Also, we have 2 restaurants. One which is called Oak Restaurant, which available inside the Royal Academy for Conservation of Nature, and also the Roe Deer restaurant, which is available inside the center, inside the visitor center. Also, we have a network of hiking trails. It differs in distance, starting in 2 kilometers until 18 kilometers. The aim of having these trails to connect the reserve with the local community and to connect the reserve with archaeological sites in Ajnoon Governorate. Also, we are empowering women. We have 3 socio-economic projects: the Biscuit House, the Calligraphy House, and the Soap House. All these projects, we select women to work on these projects in order to empower them, and also to give them the chance to be part of our staff, and also to change the mind of the local behavior, just that women they shall work and they shall assist their husband. Also, we have one of the special services, the longest forest zip line. It's 303 meters. It was established in 2019 and was officially opened last year on 10th of March. And really, we noticed that we gain more revenue, and also we attract a large number of visitors to have the experience of doing ziplining. Also, if you hear about the Royal Academy for Conservation of Nature, it's one of the special destination and special attraction for nature lovers and for people who are interested to learn more about environment, and also it's the first institution in the Middle East that offer training about the environment, about nature guiding, and also we support through this academy. This academy is supported by the Royal Court, and also it was officially opened by Crown Prince in 2015, and the first stone was laid down by King Abdullah. And it's divided into 3 types. There's a restaurant with the special terraces, and also the socio-economic projects. They are available in this center, and also we have the educational center, the third part. Adventure tourism contribution in developing local communities. It contributes to increase awareness on environmental issues, and one of the important messages that we need to convey through doing adventure activities to increase awareness about the environment, because we need to minimize the environmental impact, and also we need to let the people know that we shall benefit from the nature, and also we conserve it for the next generation. And also it contributes to help the local community by diversify the local economy, and also maximize the benefits to the local communities. We noticed that we have a large number of benefits through the annual report that we prepare every year. We have more than 100 families. They are benefited from the adventure activities and the reserve program, directly and indirectly. We have 60 full-time employees. They are 100%. They are from the local communities, from the 6 villages that surround the reserve. And also we do like a survey, guest satisfaction survey. We noticed that on the end of 2018, most of the visitors they want to have new activities and new adventure activities. So this is why we work with a donor, and they grant us to install a zip line, and that happened, as I told you. We get the grant in 2019. It was officially open in 2020, and most of the visitors they like to do this experience, and really we meet their expectation. And also we building a partnership with the tour and adventure operators, because most of the tour operators they would like to do like a package tour. They would like to do like a hike and then adventure, like rappelling, climbing, ziplining, and also they want a service provider like a restaurant to make a full package. We noticed that 20% increase of income after we established the zipline last year. And also we noticed that we have a new segment of visitors we didn't see before. We noticed that they start to come, especially the youth and the adventurers who would like to do adventure. And also that leads us to work on a master plan to develop an adventure park on the reserve. And now we are writing a proposal to donors to develop that adventure park. This is briefly about our work. I hope if we have the time to talk more and more about our work in the RSCN and in all natural reserves. Now, I'm very pleased just to show you that we have questions for discussion. I will appreciate if we can hear from your side, from your experience, and your input is very valuable for us. And as Leonie mentioned, if anybody have any questions, so you can write it in the chat box, and we will do all the best to answer your questions. And also, if we can't, because we have a short time, so I will be able to answer all your questions through your emails. So we have 5 questions. Just I would like to raise this question on your Excellency. What are good practices in ensuring a good balance between tourism and nature conservation? Question number 2, what are the obstacles that face adventure tourism development in and around nature reserves? And the third question, what are the best ways to engage in local communities and increasing economic benefits to both communities and reserves? And question number 4, how to ensure sustainable development of tourism in the parks and reserves while ensuring sustainability of natural habitat? And the last question will be, we need to hear from your side good examples in overcoming COVID-19 effects on reserves and parks. And thank you for your listening, and I'm ready for your questions, for your comments is highly welcome, and I'm here to serve you. Yes, Leonie.
Thank you, Osman, for this very interesting presentation. As you can see, participants of this breakout session, we have these 5 questions prepared for you. If you'd like to intervene, please raise your hand, and that way we can give you the floor, or type your questions in the chat box. These questions initially are prepared for you, so we would like to hear your input on these questions. But if you are too shy to break the ice for the moment, then I can see one question here in the chat. One second. It says, can you be more specific about building partnership with tour and adventure operators to make a difference between experience? So can you be more specific about how to building the partnership with tour and adventure operators? This is a question by Chakar Zan. I'm very sorry if I pronounce your name wrongly. I'm trying. Okay, Osman, can you give us some more specifics on this?
I will give you example about this. As I told you, that we established a new, for example, we established a new activity, which is called the zipline. The zipline it needs a techniques, and it needs an experience and licensed people who can operate it, because the safety measures is our priority. So we signed a contract with one of the companies in Jordan, which is called IBEX. And this contract, the aim of this contract, just to enable this company to operate this adventure game or the adventure activity, because the safety measure is one of our priority. Also, we have Leonie, we sign a contract also with tour operators just in Jordan. We give them a special price just to enable them to do like a hike in a fair price for them, and also enable them to sell this price just to gain a revenue. And also, as I told you, most of the adventure companies they seek to find a full package, and we try to help them and to offer this package to these tour operators. I don't know if I'm answer your question. If it's not clear, just let me know.
Thank you, Osman. Just for Chakar, if the answer was not responding to your question, I hope you can just take the floor and then we will elaborate more on this. Okay, there's another comment in the chat saying the hotel sector and investors and adventure tourism travelers. The adventure tourism client seldom impacts the large hotel chains. This has to change. What are your thoughts on that?
Can you repeat, Leonie, please?
Yes, the adventure tourism client seldom impacts the large hotel chains. This has to change. What are your thoughts on that? Should the adventure tourism sector impact more large hotel chains?
Yes, it's impact, but eventually we noticed that before COVID, just to be frank, before COVID, we noticed that most of the people they are, especially walk-in visitors, they are choosing the natural reserves as a special destination to stay and to do their activities there. And that really, we noticed that there's a high impact on increasing awareness about the environment, and also at the same time, we noticed that there's a competition, highly competition from the local community to provide services for those visitors who are coming just to practice the adventure activities.
Okay. Thank you, Osman. I can see that Zain Sultan, you would like to take the floor. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thank you. Hi, Osman.
We can barely hear you. Can you maybe try to get closer to your microphone?
Yes. Hi. Is it better now?
Yes, a bit. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Osman. يعطيك العافية. I'm just wondering about the social aspect, engaging the families from the local community. So how do you do that? Is it through community leaders, or like how do you manage that? Engaging the local families into your work.
Okay. Thank you, Zain. This is very important question for us, really. What we do, we do like a survey. In 2010, we got a grant from USAID project with cooperation with the Ministry of Tourism. We do like a survey for the local community members who are interested to join and who have ideas, or also who have a special attraction, just to support them and to start working with them in the tourism sector. And also the adventure tourism is part of the activities that we developed that with the local community members. And really we noticed that many members, they are interested to develop their work, and we trying to build their capacity, and also we support them by connecting them with tour operators, and also we connect them with the reserves activity, and they become part of our activities. And really, we noticed, as I told you, and all of you before, that we noticed that there's a high competition between the locals, and also some of them, they just work and they start to manage and to run their own business. And we are happy for that, because we need people, all of them, to work. We are not here to compete them in their work. Really, we are here to generate incomes and to create benefits for them. And we always working here as a model to develop the local community and to always support them in their way. And really, as I told you, there's a large number of benefits, and also some of the activities here in the reserve. It depends on the local community to help us in doing it, even if it's hiking trails or also food and beverage providers, and also we put like one of the important points when we sign a contract with the local the operator of adventure tour operator, that we shall have 60% of your employee from the local community, and you shall train them and you shall give them the license. This is our strategy, and this is how we work with the local community. And really, we have a great impact, and we gain support from the donors, and also we gain a wider public support from the local community because they touch the benefits on the local area.
Thank you, Osman. We have another question waiting here in line from Giuseppe Capella, who asks, how can we make it compatible to attract visitors to conservation sites in mass tourism destinations, as, for example, is the case of Barcelona, where in the Costa Brava, they try to work in this direction, but they find it difficult. Can you give us your thoughts on that? How is this compatible, conservation sites in mass tourism destinations?
Okay, just if I'm I understand you right, just you need to know how we can manage the adventure activities inside the natural reserves. If we compare it to a mass tourism site, this is your question, really?
I understood the question more as like in mass tourism destinations, like where really there is a large amount of people, of arrivals. How can these people be guided to the conservation sites? Like how can we attract them to the parks, to the reserves?
Okay, yeah,
that's how I understood it.
Yes,
maybe,
okay, thank you. I understand, and I understand you, Leonie. Really, it's very important, this question. We are trying always to attract people, the nature lovers, to come to the natural areas, because always there's a message for the visitors who are coming. They educate from their experience, and they are knowing they are sustain the reserve for next generation. And we are concentrating on the carrying capacity for the natural reserve. It's very important. For example, if we can't accommodate at the reserve 200 people or 300 people at the same time. For example, there's a carrying capacity for each services. For example, for the hiking trails, we can't carry up over 18 people on the group on the hiking trail. So on the daily activities, for example, for the restaurant, we can carry up to 100 people. But the mass tourism, there's a negative impact, and this is why we always try to convey a message about increasing awareness about the environmental issues. We noticed that on the mass tourism destinations, there's a negative impact. They are throwing garbage, there's a noisy sound, there's no respect for nature, and also there's no respect for the species. So this is why we do like also, besides the carrying capacity, also we do like a zoning. So where we choose the trails, it doesn't cross off with like a wilderness area. There's 3 zones that we use in our management plan. There's a wilderness area, there's a intensive area and semi-intensive area. So the activities it's allowed just on the in the intensive area and semi-intensive area, and the wilderness area we can't do anything. Any activities. Also, for example, when we decide just to install a zip line, as you know, zip line sometimes it produces voices for the adventurers to do these activities. So we try to find a place that doesn't affect the species inside the reserve. But if we compare this with the mass tourism destination, we notice that the people who are operating the mass tourism destination, they do any activities everywhere, and there's no there's no determination for the numbers of the people or the people who are trying to do this the activities there.
Okay, thank you, Osman. We have actually two people with their hands raised. I think Ramzi Maita was first. Please go on. Go ahead with your comment.
Yes, Mr. Ramzi.
Ramzi? Okay, maybe you have your microphone muted on the bottom left of your screen. Otherwise, I would say we move on to, okay, Ke Al-Kazim, is that right? I hope that you recognize your name.
Kais of Qasim.
Kais, okay,
Hello,
here. The floor is yours, please.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Othman, for your good presentation. Just I want to ask, I hear you talk about prepare master plan about adventure tourism. How you see this issue help the sustainable and natural reserve and help the local communities around the reserve? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Qais, for this question. Really, we, as I told you before, that we develop after we noticed that there's a high demand on adventure activities, and at the same time we have a control in just not to affect the environment, and at the same time we create new benefits. Imagine from one activity we create 4 job opportunities for people from the local community, and also we get revenue. At the same time we have a new segment of people. So this is give us an indicator how we can develop the concept of adventure tourism with doing like a balance between conserving the environment. At the same time we are creating benefits for the local community, and also we help to meet the expectation of the visitors, because as you know we have different segments of visitors who are coming to the reserve. So some of them they are interesting just for meditation, some of them they are interesting just to try the local food, some of them they are trying to try the experiential tourism and having the rural tourism experience. And also by having an adventure a master plan to develop many activities without having a negative impact to the environment, I think that will help to sustain the reserve, and also to convey our message how we can like doing a balance between conserving the nature and helping the local community.
Thank you, Mr. Othman. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Qais.
Wonderful. Thank you for this question. We'll give it another try now with Mr. Ramzi. Maybe we can hear you this time. Please, the floor is yours. No, we cannot hear you.
We didn't hear you.
We cannot hear you. Something must be wrong with your microphone. Maybe can you type your comment or question into the chat and we can address it this way? I'm sorry, but there seems to be a technical problem here and we can't hear you. Meanwhile, maybe we can address...
Excuse me, I see Mr. Ramzi, he write you their question on the chat if you want to.
Okay, here we have the question from Mr. Ramzi in the chat. What about how we can sustain community-based tourism and partnership during the COVID-19 pandemic? Protected areas are facing increased threat from other livelihood activities, like for example, overgrazing or farming. Okay, how can we protect now, how can we sustain the community-based tourism in COVID times? Because I mean, it's community-based. There is, always contact with people. That's what you're referring to, Mr. Ramzi, right? So how can we sustain this in times of pandemic? Over other activities. Any thoughts on that, please, Othman?
Okay. So thank you, Mr. Ramzi, for first having with us, and also thank you for your question. In fact, through pandemic time, we trying to it was our priority just to conserve the land and conserve the protected area without having any violations. because we have like a support from the government. They give us like a permission to move and to do like patrolling. At the same time, we have like a cooperation regards to, for example, regards to the grazing or overgrazing with the shepherd on the surrounding area, just because we determine for them where they can do like a grazing and the period of time. At the same time, our rangers on the patrolling, they interfere if there's any violation. And after the lockdown, we start to open the space for the local community service providers to encourage them, because we know that they are affected like the whole sector, and we are trying to encourage people to go there and to buy from their products. And also we choose three or five service providers on the long of the trails that we are doing on the from the reserve center till these area, just to support them in order to gain the support from their side, and also in order to protect the land. Because your point is very important, because if we don't have support from the neighbors and from the local community, I think that we will have violations on the species and also on the protected lands.
Yeah, we have another comment here from Mr. Ramsey, because he says, for example, in Ajloon Reserve, you have calligraphy house and the biscuits confectionery house employing women. In Dana, you had artisan products and B&B services. Is that right?
Yes, it's right. Yeah, Mr. Ramzi, your point is very important. I mentioned on the presentation that we have, for example, in Ajloon, we have 3 socio-economic projects: the calligraphy house, the biscuit house, and the soap house. The aim of these projects just to create new job opportunities for women. On the past, we suffer from this point. It's kind of our tradition. It's not allowed for women to wear. In 2016, with cooperation with the European Union, we gained a support from just to develop the concept of developing the women and empowering them, and we build their capacity. And imagine, since 2006 till today, we have women, they are working with us, and we have a replica of this model in all the natural reserves. I told you we have 11 natural reserves. We have many socio-economic projects in Dana, in Karak, in Dibin, in Yarmouk, and all these projects, they are empowering women. And we sell we sell their products in Wild Jordan Center, and also in the nature shop, which is available in all the natural reserve. For example, if any visitor, they don't have the chance to visit the nature shop, they can see all these products, and our employees, they can talk about and they can elaborate and give introduction about these products and the aim of all these products, just to help the local communities.
Thank you. That's indeed very impressive what you're doing there, your work in this area. We have another question here related to COVID, posed by Rana Tanisa in the chat, and she says, I believe that nature adventure is the best tourism activity during COVID pandemic. Do you promote this kind of tourism as COVID safe adventure? And what are special safety COVID measures you take? So adventure tourism in COVID times is the best one. And do you promote this activity as COVID safe? And what special safety COVID measures do you take?
Okay, Yani, thank you for her question. Yani, very impressive question and very interesting. Regarding the promotion campaign, we do like a campaign, travel inside your country. As you know, after the lockdown, it's not allowed to anybody to travel outside Jordan. For example, if I'm talking about Jordan. So we do like a campaign, travel inside Jordan, especially inside the reserves in Jordan, because we have special attractions. And also, I told you, before COVID, we are concentrating on the carrying capacity, so we don't have large groups. After COVID, we are concentrating on safety measures, how to be social distancing, using the mask, using the hygiene. and also we minimize the number of people who are interested to do any activities, and really the activities that we have, there's no crowded people. So for example, if anybody want to do zip line, which means that he will not meet a large number of people, just he can go to the starting point, he can wear the kit, and he will do this activity. And through this, when we have a media campaign and also on the TV programs, they ask us how you can promote your site. I told them the best way to go outside and to prevent having COVID, just go to natural reserves and escape with nature.
Okay, so indeed, adventure tourism is a type of tourism that offers itself as safe tourism in times of pandemic, because it's not, it does not crowd people. It's happening in natural spaces. So yes, we have another, maybe it will be already the last question on the chat from Mosen Ben Hassin, who says, have you thought about transforming this territory into a geopark? Are there any plans to transform the natural reserve into a geopark?
In fact, no, there's no any plan just to transform it to a geopark.
Okay, that was a quick answer. Then we maybe have time for another question, another comment. If there are no more questions from the participants, no more comments, then maybe I have another question for you, or maybe we can just take one of the questions that we initially posed for this discussion, which is maybe the second question about the obstacles that adventure tourism faces in and around nature reserves. Can you maybe give us your thoughts, since the public is a bit shy to intervene? Osman, can you maybe elaborate quickly on some obstacles?
The obstacles that we face, in fact, the bureaucracy of the governmental licensing. For example, when we are trying, for example, if we want to develop one activity, the zipline, we face a problem in having a license from the government. It takes me, I enter a long procedure just to gain the official permission and to operate. Until today, in Jordan, we didn't have like a representative just who are giving the rights to adventure tourism sector. And we are working together, a representative from Ministry of Tourism, JTB, representative from tour operators, just to make like an official committee, just to have the rights and to make the process easier than what we have it today. And this is the major obstacle that we face on the adventure tourism sector.
Okay, perfect, thank you. I think that in any moment we will be taken back to the main room. So I would like to thank especially you, Osman, for answering all these questions, for giving us your input, your thoughts on the role of natural reserves and parks in adventure tourism. So that was very interesting. Thank you again for taking the time. Thank you for all the participants, for your questions, for your patience, for joining this room. And yes, that's all from my side. Now I guess we must be taken back. This should happen actually automatically, so you don't have to do anything in theory to be taken back. So I don't know.
Thank you.
The countdown should be on, so maybe we just have to
Welcome back, everyone, and I do hope you had an opportunity to engage together in some enlightening discussions with people from all over the globe. Before we move on to the next session, I would like to proudly share the Medusa video that was prepared with the 5 partner countries. Please have a look at the video, enjoy it, and I'll see you back once again in a few minutes.
There will always be lands we have never seen, places we wish to explore. Discover breathtaking views. Take a leap from the ordinary and enjoy the excitement filling your body. Who said bravery is a given? It's all about resilience, so let the adventure begin in countries full of wonders. You are not alone. Trust one another and dare to seek new environments. You fall? Get up anyway and try again and again. We are living proof of perseverance. Nothing more challenging than immersing yourself into newfound experiences. Nothing better than taking a deep breath of fresh air while gazing at the stars of different skies. And nothing more real than feeling the rhythm of waves and falling in love with nature. Embrace new cultures that never cease to surprise. Travel responsibly by respecting locals, travelers, cultural heritage, and most importantly, the environment.
Benvenuti in Puglia. يا هلا ويا مرحبا فيكم بالأردن.
أهلا وسهلا فيكم بلبنان.
Benvinguta Catalonia.
مرحبا بكم في تونس. Welcome to the Mediterranean.
Step out of your comfort zone and jump into the most stunning panoramas that you will ever lay your eyes on. Travel from one place to another, each incredibly unique and thrilling. Hold on tight or just let loose. Experience activities you cannot try at home and destinations hard to find anywhere else in the world. Keep your eyes open for wowing sceneries. Gaze into the horizon and sense the beauty of life. Dive right into unforgettable experiences and discover the unknown. Ready for unforgettable adventures? Visit the Mediterranean.
It's wonderful, wonderful.
How inspiring, how motivating. This video truly showcases what Medusa project is all about. I want to remind everyone that we still have the translation services available. If you click on the bottom of your screen, you'll be able to access translation in Italian, Spanish, and Arabic. I want to also advise everyone that maybe towards the end of these sessions, once we're complete with the agenda, we will be able to take more questions and answers in a more interactive way. For the next 25 minutes, we have a segment that will have our featured 2 speakers. Barbara Fritz is going to take us through identification and analysis of the sustainable innovative practices in adventure tourism, and will be followed by another presentation from Anna Sands, who will be talking to us about the research and study on market demand, supply, and competitiveness, both of which have been produced by the Medusa project partners. Barbara, I leave the floor with you, please. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Hello again, and hello for those who haven't met me yet. I'm glad to be able to give you within the next 10 minutes a brief insight on the study on identification and analysis of sustainable innovative practices of adventure tourism. My team and me, we had the pleasure to do this interesting study last summer. And the idea of the study was, or what was the main purpose? The main purpose of the study was to identify and provide an insight on really innovative, sustainable adventure and sustainable tourism practices practiced around the world and within the Mediterranean region. The idea of this study was to develop let's say, an inspiration guidelines for the Medusa destinations for their further flagship product development. What is really important is because we heard a lot about sustainability and the difference of flagship products and the difference between the level of development within the destinations. So for us, it was really important that the selected examples within our study focus on the identification of the most sustainable tourism practices in terms of generating a broad range of benefits for the local communities and tourism stakeholders. So we heard a lot about sustainable adventure tourism. Just let us fly through the topic of sustainable adventure tourism, because not every type of adventure tourism is really sustainable. I mean, sustainable adventure tourism is definitely one of the fastest growing tourism sectors. And it attracts high value customers. It can support local economies, and it also can encourage sustainable practices. According to the World Tourism Organization, there are two main categories of adventure tourism. It's hard adventure tourism, for example, it's caving, climbing, and soft adventure tourism, hiking, authentic experiences, or canoeing. You will find a whole exemplary list within our benchmark study, giving you an idea on more hard and soft adventure tourism examples. And there are also different types of adventure tourism. There are adventure tourism enthusiasts. There are the extreme adventurer. And there is another group, which is the most interesting group because it's the most sustainable target group. It's the culturally interested hikers and trekkers. Why are they so interesting for us, or why are they the most sustainable target group? Because it's a quite broad range of target group. They are high value customers. They like to stay in the destination, spend money, and spend time in the destinations. So this is really a target group to go for. I mean, we heard a lot about adventure tourism, and it can certainly turn into an economic driving force once it's developed in a professional manner and once the right adventure tourism model has been selected. Why the right adventure tourism model? Because not every type of adventure tourism is sustainable. Generally speaking, soft adventure tourism types are more sustainable than hard ones. Why? Because sustainable adventure tourism practices require more sustainable tourism infrastructure like trails, signposts, local quality schemes, visitor guidelines, planning, and at the same time, they involve many local tourism stakeholders in the tourism value chain. For example, bed and breakfasts, local guides, small local restaurants, incoming tour operators. Let's jump to one of the examples. We already heard from Lina a bit about the Jordan Trail. This is one of our practices. we selected because we think it's a real good practice showcasing it's a really good example for a sustainable adventure practice because soft mobility involving local communities. It leads through 52 villages and towns, and it's an exemplary practice because it shows the authentic Jordan. It helps the local development, and it leads, as I said, it leads to the villages. And the idea is that on the one hand side, the visitor, the hiker, can experience Jordan, but at the same time, the hiker has the possibility to stay with local people, and local people can benefit from this type of tourism. The same accommodations are also, people are staying, not only eating with local communities, they're also staying with local communities. Let's have another look at sustainable adventure tourism elements. I mean, on the one hand side, we have the essential elements of adventure tourism, showing nature, activity, and culture. And right in the middle, you have the experience, the core element of sustainable adventure tourism. And on the other hand side, you have the visitor's perspective. It's all about traveler's experience. The traveler is looking for the unique, the new experience, the challenge, and for a transformation and element. So what are international trends? We also had a quick look on international trends in regards to sustainable adventure tourism. It's definitely a growing segment. Adventure tourism is growing. Being local as an ultimate adventure, seeking to experience destination as temporary locals. This is definitely one strong future trend. So we have identified one top activity, which is hiking. Adventure travelers are most interested in hiking as an activity with custom itineraries, especially long distance hiking or long distance trekking or hiking combined with cultural experiences. This is a very interesting and sustainable trend. And last but not least, again, experiences, this live like a local, and it's a very strong and growing trend on the international sustainable tourism market. Travelers seeking experiences that allow them to unblock and to so-called dive in to a destination. So what we did a benchmarking on the selected destinations. The benchmarking study will present 45 sustainable good practices around the globe in 26 countries. They are scanned for key attractions. And one really important element was the sustainability check. So all scanned practices were checked according to their sustainability performance. 11 categories. So our the sustainable practices were divided into or selected into different categories. These categories are all they have been identified and elaborated based on the main assets of the Medusa destinations. It starts with destination development and marketing models. Protected areas and national parks is a key topic, as we learned from all the presentations. So we also had a look on different innovative and creative trail models, on so-called spiritual experiences, bicycling, mountain biking, water experiences. We also included city experiences and featured several cultural experiences. Arts and craft is one topic, so-called innovative initiatives on the sustainable tourism market. And the last categories are leisure experiences. So let's have a quick look at the sustainability performance check, because the idea was to develop a brief assessment for each practice based on the global sustainable tourism criteria for destinations to assess the sustainability performance. Those, the sustainability performance check were organized around the 4 topics: sustainability planning. So we had a look to what extent there are really sustainability, to what extent the practices are really sustainable in terms of planning, monitoring, and management. The second area, and one of the most important areas, are community benefits, maximizing social economic benefits for the local communities in terms of job, income, entrepreneurship. Cultural heritage, enhancing cultural heritage, the authenticity of the destination, promoting local traditions, local architecture, local cuisine. And the last one, the impact on the environment, minimizing negative impact on the environment and nature resources. Those were the key areas of the so-called sustainability performance check of all practices that were scanned. So now let's jump to the sustainable practices around the globe. We have 45 practices, very creative and inspiring and innovative ones from 26 countries. As already mentioned, the core element of the benchmarking study are those practices, and they were all selected based on the assets of the Medusa territories. We have several flagship trail products that were assessed. We have certified destinations. We have protected area with innovative flagship products. We have, as we already heard, there is, for example, the Jordan Biking Trail. One certified destination, the Azores. It's a complete sustainability certified destination. Oh, I have only 1 minute, so then I will jump through. So you will see we have only 1 minute left. So let's jump into the conclusion and recommendations then. There are 10 key areas for the development of adventure tourism practices, creating the highest level of sustainability performance, sustainability planning, community benefits, conservation and active promotion of cultural heritage, low impact tourism infrastructure, sustainable green building and construction, tourism activities generating the least possible impact, a great offer of local gastronomy, local products, the protection of biodiversity and natural heritage, soft mobility, and sustainable resource management among tourism businesses. So now we are already at the conclusion. If you compare our different practices, the ones that show the highest level of sustainability performance are those that are well planned and developed with a sustainability focused strategy, and while showing a minimal impact on the environment. So we have some examples for you. For example, the Azores, a destination developed based on a sustainable tourism charter for tourism. The Jordan Trail, we just heard about the Jordan Trail before, an example for a strong involvement of local communities. The Lebanon Trail, a very strong involvement of local communities, promoting cultural heritage, local products. And We have another trail. It's the 5C trail, excellent bottom-up approach, strong involvement of local communities. So in summary, the product hiking and well-designed hiking trails connecting nature and cultural heritage are the leading practices in terms of sustainability and community benefits. So now I will sum up with recommendations, the practical recommendations for destinations. So setting up a joint vision for sustainability is key for all tourism stakeholders. Assign an organization or department within your organization. Construction and building guidelines. Sustainable certification. Thank you.
Hello. I'm okay. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I was trying to explain and to summarize the study on market demand, supply, and competitiveness. The study is divided into five chapters. The first one, the market trends in adventure tourism. The second, the outbound markets for adventure tourism. The analysis of tour operators and products, the recommendations, and then a small chapter about the situation COVID-19 that is done in July 2020. First of all, the first chapter is based on the conceptualization, identification of the characteristics and trends of adventure travel. The main task was to gather information about the importance of adventure tourism in outbound markets, how the adventure demand is evolving, or how the stakeholders are adapting to attract the demand, among other aspects. Here you have the main trends about adventure tourism according to the Adventure Travel Trade Association. Hiking, cycling, safaris, culinary activities, and wellness are at the top of the activities. Custom itineraries are very important. Scandinavia, South America, Northern and Southern Africa, and Middle East are the main outbound adventure countries. The 83 of adventure tour companies have more gross revenue in 2018 than in 2017. And adventures clients are between the age of 52 and 70, and the average age of the adventure traveler is around 49 years old. The second chapter is based on the description of outbound markets. Medusa partners chose 5 main countries. Okay, to choose these countries, there were a criteria that were focused on the market, and these criteria were the markets have the main the countries have the main source markets for adventure tourism. The countries have many well-established tour operators already, and the countries are part of the extensive networks that will enable Medusa project products entering. Finally, the 5 markets that Medusa partners choose were France, Germany, Norway, United Kingdom, and United States of America. For the selected markets, generic fact sheets have been described with the following information to each market. So here you have more or less all the information for each market. First, general information, then travel trade of the market, flight connections with the Medusa countries, bank holidays for the market volume, the general travel profile, and then more specific for adventures. Adventure tourism in the market itself, characteristics of adventure traveler in the market, related institutions of adventure media, adventure events and exhibitions, and highlights of the market. The third chapter is the analysis of tour operators of each country market. We identified and analyzed the most important tour operators in each country, specialized in adventure tourism. The tour operators of each market have been selected according to the importance of outbound markets. Tour operators specialized in different types of activity. Large tour operators and smaller ones too. Importance of the tour operator within the market itself, and the possibility of cross-selling. For example, UK sells to all English-speaking countries. The initial prevision was to consider 50 tour operators, but the characteristics of the project and the fact that the partners have different activities to promote and market led to increase until 64. So we have identified 236 tour operators in global, and we analyze it 64 tour operators of different specialization. Here you have an example of the fact sheet that we use and we fill. The most important items in this fact sheet is the products, the part of the products. This section lists the most important products or activities that one tour operator offers, as you can see in the fact sheet. Then the second part is the details on the left side with the main characteristics of the tour operator, both in internal company terms, for example, the year of the constitution, or type of the product that is offering. For example, if a product is guided or self-guided. There is also one part of sustainability communication, the importance that the tour operator gives to sustainability, okay? And then the observation are the highlights of our analysis on the tour operator's website. Here, there are different kind of information depending on the tour operators. And then on the right side, you have the products in Medusa country. This is, means that one tour operator maybe is selling already some products. So we put in this chart which kind of products they are selling, okay, and also in which different Medusa countries. The products have been listed according to the countries and activities. But as Italy and Spain tend to have a large portfolio of products in the different tour operators, it has been considered important to detail the products specifically selling in these two partner regions, so Puglia and Catalonia. The next chapter was the analysis of products sold by tour operators. The initial prevision was to analyze 15 products, and finally we analyzed around 31 products from 28 different tour operators. This analysis focused on the target segment, for example, if the product was for women or young people, tour duration, short breaks, long trips, and diverse destination. In total, the products analyzed were from 22 destinations. In some cases, we analyzed package outside Medusa countries, okay, because we think that was very interesting to have different types of products as an example to design better products. The select products are programmed in 19 different countries, 22 destinations and 19 different countries. Here you have an example of the fact sheets, okay? First, well, you have a lot of information, so basic characteristics of the product, then the additional information, additional information, and other observation, and comments about the each product. And then I enter into the chapter recommendations. That is the key information and the recommendations to design adventures. These recommendations are focused on 5 types of products, which have been described in more depth. As you see now, we have decided 5 Medusa activities that are hiking, trekking, leisure cycling, mountain biking, diving, and multi-activity, and we compare with the top 5 activities. This recommendation section is very important because we design a list of features of adventure tourist package, how to introduce the destination to tour operators, how to design the products for each audience, and also the characteristics of the main tourist products according to the type of the activity. Apart from the 5 top, Medusa has also other activities. Medusa countries are developed also other activities that are bird watching, horse riding, kayaking, rock climbing, and snow activities. And this we also analyze it, but in not as deep as deeper as the top 5. The way of introducing the destination to the outbound market depends a lot on the product and the target. Okay, it's not the same to introduce a multi-activity product for young people in the United States or in Germany. So the recommendation how to introduce the destination were based on the below items: the analysis of the tour operator. So the more knowledge about the tour operator, more possibilities of successful, the creation of a dossier, the attendance at specialized fairs with a commercial agenda, fun trips, very important too, workshops, okay, great opportunity to meet many companies in a short time, prices, think about commissions, for example, and cultural differences. More knowledge about the outbound market means more facilities to sell and marketing the product. Then the other recommendation is how to design products for each audience. Depending on the target audience, the product will be different because it depends on the needs, on the interest, and the characteristic of each audience. According to ATA, adventure tourism could be divided into 5 groups that you have here: older travelers, families, women, solo travelers, okay, and young adults. I have to finish, so I will pass very quickly to the end. This study gives recommendation to build up a specific product for each target group, okay, depending on their needs. And finally, we analyzed it and we did a recommendation about the characteristic of the main tourist products. So the top 5 Medusa activities. That it means that we write a short description about the products, and also we focus on the customer profile and the specific characteristic of each product. This means that all these recommendations allows to DMCs or allows to companies to set up products very specific for the product itself, the activity itself, excuse me, and for the target itself. And the last one is the culture and gastronomy. That here, that is a general. It's a transversal product. We have in a activity like cycling, we have also culture and gastronomy inside the product when we set up the product. Okay, and the last one is about COVID. Well, it's clearly that adventure tourism will be reinforced as the activities are developed in open air And the tour operators will have an important paper, okay, because they could ensure a safety travel to their clients. But we need also to wait a little bit how all these tour operators and the network will finish, because when COVID will finish, we will see the situation of the small tour operators and the trade. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Anna. That was very insightful, I'm sure, for the audience that we have with us. And as they say, the best part is the last part. Why? Because we have an announcement on the upcoming adventure tourism competition and closing remarks, which will be delivered by Alberto Rodriguez Tejía, the project manager of European Projects and Innovation at the Barcelona Chamber of Commerce. After Albert is done with his comments and with his announcements, we will be staying back for a Q&A session. So in case you have any questions, please stay with us. And just to confirm once again that all the slides, all the presentations, what you saw before and what you have seen in the breakout rooms will be shared on the website. My colleagues will be typing the link into the chat box right now. Albert, I leave it with you.
Good afternoon and ready, everyone. I'm going to be brief, okay, because we are running out of time. But as Omar said, at the end of my presentation, it will be time for some questions. So yeah, I'm sure you will have some questions for me. My role here is to put in context everything that has been said today during this seminar within the Medusa project, okay? So Medusa project, our objective is to develop a new competitive form of adventure tourism in the Mediterranean, in the countries of implementation of the project that have been mentioned today during the seminar, okay? The important, the main characteristics of the project is that we want to do it following environmental terms, but also economic terms, okay? Our goal is to create permanent jobs. You know, in our countries, usually jobs are linked in summertime, are temporary jobs usually. So we want to develop this form of tourism that allow us to create permanent jobs, also bring the benefits of tourism to other less known destinations of our territories. As you have seen today, we have so many things to offer. So that's basically what we pretend to do in the project. In addition to the partnership of the project, we count with the collaboration of a series of associated entities. You can see the logos on the screen. I'm going to read their names quickly for you. First is the Jordan Tourism Board, the Agency for the Promotion of Industry and Innovation in Tunisia, the Jordan Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, the Association of Travel and Tourist Agents in the Lebanon, the Tunisia Ecotourism Network, the Lebanese Ministry of Tourism, the Conference of Peripheral Maritime Regions, Federtrek, Excursionismo y Ambiente in Puglia region, Italy, the Provincial Council of Barcelona in Catalonia, the Directorate General for the Forestry in Tunisia, and the Adventure Travel Trade Association, the ATA. Okay, so you can see now in the screen what is supposed to be the results of all these efforts carried out in the project. We will have a global market research and analysis report on adventure tourism. This is what actually has been presented today. Some of you have been asking where to find all these reports, all this research. It's in our website. It has been shared a few times in the chat, but you can find it in our website. Okay, Medusa website. In addition to that, we are offering some training sessions. We have already carried out a training on sustainable management. It's coming in the following month, another training for business planning, marketing, sales, and then also a training of local guides. Okay, we want to create at least 10 strategic alliances to foster public and private destination management. We want to create at least one adventure tourism product co-creation program. This is actually our next activity with you, with the local stakeholders in every territory. Okay, so stay alert to our news about this. We want to create also 10 new or improved adventure tourism products, 3 cross-border adventure tourism routes, itineraries, and day trips, and 1 managing marketing strategy. Sorry, this is already something that we are already carrying out. Okay, and all this has to benefit at least 110 public authorities. Okay, 250 organizations from the private sector, at least 60 civil society organizations, and all this should impact at least in 135 municipalities. You can see now in the screen, probably very small, but let me sum up our next activities. Okay, this is divided in blocks. We are going to carry out some seminars in addition to the one we are doing now. Also conferences, trainings and workshops, well, promotion and marketing actions, and the main action, let's say, is the competition that Omar said I will announce now. And now you can see in the screen main characteristics of it. These competitions, well, this competition is an action that we will implement in the 5 countries. We will have, we will offer grants up to 50,000 euros. Okay, at least 150. We have 150 euros per country. Okay. We are currently working on the criteria, okay, the criteria, the content of these granting opportunities. Know already that it's going to be linked with Medusa values of inclusivity of women, youth. We are going to use all the background presented today, all this research carried out during the first part of Medusa project. So all this is going to be taken into consideration to define what is best to promote. And yeah, of course, the most importantly will be that it's a good product, that if possible, it's a cross-border product, can be new product or improved product, or, I mean, improving an already existing product. And yeah, that it has a good impact in economical terms, also environmental sustainable, of course. And that's in general lines the main characteristics of this opportunity. If you have more questions, in addition now to be able to ask me in the questions and answers section, know that we have all these channels, okay, where I encourage you to follow up the activity of the project. We have the website where you can find all the reports presented today, but also Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram channels. Okay, you will be alert there about all the upcoming activities that I mentioned. So I strongly encourage you to follow us. And if you have any particular issue or a question related with subgranting, you can also always write me in the email direction that you can see in the bottom part. So thank you all for your assistance today, for your interest in Medusa project, and for listening me now. Thank you.
Thank you, Albert. Thank you very much. So we come here to the conclusion of the cross-border seminar. Thank you so much for joining and thank you for taking part. We do hope that you will be more engaged with us in what remains for the life of the project. My colleagues are going to assist me now in compiling some of the questions or comments that we have within the session. So if you have any questions or comments, please type them into the chat so that I can take them and address them to the people concerned so they can answer you and get back to you with more updates. Once again, let me remind you that all the reports, all the presentations are going to be shared on the Medusa website. So please have a look. We're all readily available for you and we are more than happy to assist with any Q&A that you might have. For people who would like to leave, once again, thank you so much for taking part of this and we do look forward to your engagement. If anyone would also like to receive them via email, we can do that as well. Just send us an email to medusa@jaitowa.org. We are able to assist you and send you these presentations within a link. Maybe my colleagues can help type in the email as well into the chat box, medusa@jaitowa.org. Do we have any questions or comments to take? All right, so seems the breakout rooms had more engagement, which is a good sign, definitely. So on that note, thank you once again for being part of this, and we look forward to the upcoming conference that you will be all updated on. Thank you so much. Have a great day.